All right, guys. Well, welcome back to the podcast. Oh God, it's never an intro without me making a mistake. But yes, I'm back again, like I never left. You know what we do. And today we're speaking to what we consider GH music royalty. You know, iconic tunes. Everybody knows the bangers, and we're going to literally get into what it's all been about from the very beginning to where it is at now. We're talking to no other than Elom. Is it Adabla? Did I get it right? Right. Also famously known as EL Lami.
Yeah. Yes,
EL baby.
The building.
I hear you grew up in Dansoman.
Yeah, I did.
I literally lived all my life in Dansoman.
Which part?
Snitz Flats, Block 2.
Oh,
what about you?
I lived Mama's Inn. Mama's Inn.
Mama's Inn. That's where my mother lives right now.
Really? So
Yeah.
your mama is in Mama's Inn.
Yeah. Oh, see. Let's make we tear track. Mommy did for Mama's Inn.
Yeah, I grew up in that area.
Yeah. And I heard you went to Martin the Porres.
Yep.
But why did you switch to Jack and Jill?
Oh, we moved. You know, we left Dansoman. We moved, relocated to Spintex Road. So we had to get a new school, everything.
Oh.
They made my sister and my brother, they went to Jack and Jill as well. And then after that, they went to GIS, and then they shipped me to Presec.
They shipped you to Presec, so you didn't go to Presec because you wanted it?
No.
Oh, so you're not like a proud of that year?
Oh, I mean, after I graduated, I became a proud of that year.
Right.
Or even during, but that wasn't my option. Charlie, GIS did, and Presec did. Your siblings are going to GIS.
This what you just said is actually feeding into some of the questions I was going to ask you.
Oh, I see.
But did Dansoman impact your music taste in any way?
Yes,
How?
definitely. You know, Dansoman was, at that time, it was predominantly a Ga speaking community. Most of my friends were Ga boys. So we had that vibe about us, you know, when she jama your mommy. Just that's that kind of vibe very subconsciously affected me, you know.
I've always wondered, you're Ewe, right?
Yeah.
So how is your Ganso, you know, who?
Yeah, because I grew up in DC, baby. Big ups to
Okay,
DC.
so you learned on the streets of DC.
Yeah, I learned a lot on the streets of DC. Like, we used to walk every day back and forth to school.
Right.
From Mama's Inn to Martin the Porres.
Martin the
So
Porres, me
it's
too.
not like I grew up with the Dabi lifestyle as people.
But listen, that's what it gave.
Yeah, that's what it gave. That's what it's giving.
Is it? Because, like, for example, I know your early production on Skillion's demo tape.
Right.
Is this Skillionaires?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Skillions at the time, those group of boys were considered dadaba.
I don't think so.
Really?
I don't. And if we were, that wasn't our what you call it?
Really?
Intention. No.
Or you were just DC boys?
Well, no, not DC boys. I think I was one of the DC boys, but we're from all over. We're from Tema, Adenta,
Right.
Spintex. Yeah.
When did you know that, like, you know, production was your thing? How did it start for you?
There wasn't like an actual point where I was like, I'm going to be a producer. It's something that I just grew into. I enjoyed writing a lot. I always say the story, when my mom would leave for work, she would always leave me with an assignment to write an essay. So I became I'm a great writer.
Really?
That's one of my greatest talents is writing. So it started from writing essays to writing poems. So I won a few poem competitions in school. And then, you know, I began to write raps. Okay. You know, the poetry started to become rhythmic.
Was this around the time that you began to be influenced by Busta Rhymes and Obrafo?
Yeah, exactly. Busta Rhymes. Obrafo was a little later down the line.
Oh, yeah. Presec.
But yeah, Presec. But, you know, listening to a lot of these, I remember when I was in Jack and Jill, that's when I first came into contact with Busta Rhymes and
what was the first song?
Method Man. And wow, it was one of the older ones, man, on his Everything Remains Raw album.
Right.
That's one of me and Joey's favorite songs, by the way.
Oh, okay.
So that's basically how it came about, from poetry to rap. Yeah.
And then you started music production. What software were you using?
And so we started trying to find beats. Nobody wanted to give us beats, so we decided to start making our own beats. And I remember I went to London for the first time. I went shopping for CDs, and I found a CD that I thought was music, but it happened to be a music production game. So I plugged that into my old Atari
Oh, yeah, Atari.
Yeah. I plugged it into my old Atari and I started making beats from there, and then Fruity Loops, and now we are doing everything.
Really, really cool. My first introduction to you was You Go Kill Me.
I see.
Yes, and I've recently come to understand that Sarkodie was not supposed to be on the song, and that it was Star Go.
Yeah, it was.
Can you tell us that story? I know it, but the people don't.
Story time, huh?
Yeah.
He just appeared in the studio. I always say that's the magic of certain artists. You know where to be at the right time. So we're producing the song for Star Go, and then your man just appeared unannounced. And he had the rap and everything, and so he just laid it. It just happened like clockwork, like it was planned, but it wasn't planned.
And I mean, at which point did you decide, okay, yeah, let's keep Sarkodie on it? Because
I mean, we're producers, we're beat makers, so there wasn't a question about what are we going to do for Star Go now? Oh my goodness!
Do something else.
Just do something else for Star, and I think we did.
And was the plan for you to be on the track as well?
No, but I guess at that point, I mean, it was a vibe. I had a hook for it. I was like, yeah, I'm also going to do my hook. And it was cool. We all just making music, And the next thing we knew, it was all over the place.
All over the place.
Yeah.
It was a banger. And a lot of people credit it to be the start of Asante. Do you agree?
That's when Asante actually blew up. It's when Asante actually became a big deal. Because I started getting calls from all over. And then I remember the first time, we were skeptical in the very beginning when the Asante craze started, because we weren't sure if it was real or
it was a fad. It was going to fade,
or just a small group of people somewhere who liked it, and it wasn't. But I remember we went for a show at the National Theatre or the Conference Center, one of them, and we're backstage, and we were about to perform the You Could Kill Me song. And I remember Jesu was there. I reminded Jesu about this. He was also backstage. And I said, Charlie, I did go on stage with Sark to go and perform the You Could Kill Me song. I was like, you sure? I was like, bro, you just watch. And when the song started, bounce. Bum, bum, bum. That was it. When that intro, that bing, bing, bing came up, that was it, and everybody was converted at that point.
It reminds me of my heydays. Am I not so? Yeah. No, it was fun. That tune, what a time. And then this is 2012, I believe, or 11.
It's around 2000, 2011, 2012.
Because not long after that, something else dropped. Yeah, which, by the way, as far as album covers goes, is one of the best out of the country. And I'm not even saying that because like I'm telling you, when we decided to do the interview, I realized how much of your art I have consumed. That cover was so nice.
Yeah, big ups to Hansen Akati for
Hansen.
That. Yeah,
Hansen, it was so dope. It was so dope. Okay, so something else.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
That 25 songs. Was it 25?
Yeah, about 25 songs.
With 13 hits. Yeah, you had who does that? How many people have 13 hits on an album?
Yeah.
It's unheard of.
It was a great start. It was a very, very great start.
Obumo.
Oh yeah. Oh, me and Chai, if you ask me, I know we'll carry more of them.
You don't remember?
Obumo on it. Kalu.
Mami What's Up was
Mami What's Up. One Ghana was on it.
Ibemli was in it.
Ibemli was on it. Antimata was on it.
Antimata was that.
Yeah, a bunch of songs.
What would you say is your biggest song on something else?
On something else?
Yeah.
Probably Obumo. Probably Obumo.
Really?
Yeah.
It wasn't Antimata.
Antimata was good too.
Yeah, it got a lot of...
It's good too. I mean, it's hard to... Antimata appealed to a certain demographic, and Obumo also appealed to a certain demographic. But Antimata is a strong contender too.
Yeah. Let's talk about the process of making that project. That was your first big project.
Yeah.
I know you had dropped a couple of singles, but what was the sentiment behind it when you were thinking about like the sound that will go on there, the features? Because one thing people don't realize about you, I think a lot of people like to say, like tag you to Asante quite a lot, but if you listen to the album, you realize that you are very diverse in your sound as well.
Yeah.
So what was the thinking that went into it? I'm making my first album. What am I giving the people?
I wasn't thinking about I'm making my first album. It was just me just doing what I love, just recording music, making music, making my beats, just being a studio animal. I still do live in a studio. You know, most of the time I'm in the studio space. So I'm always thinking about how to make this sound in my head come out, you know, how I'm going to play it. So I didn't approach it with the aim of recording an album. The thing is, I had a lot of songs and we just had to go through them and select the ones that we thought were great to put on an album. I have over 150 unreleased songs. So if I want to release an album, it's a matter of the difficult part is actually picking the songs, going through the songs and saying, okay, these are the ones that we're going to use and forget about the rest. I
really enjoy your sequencing, like on a song, like for example, Lifesaver, which was my favorite of something else, like Doneo sings for a great part of the beginning of the song.
Yeah.
You almost forget that EL is supposed to be on. And then when you come on, it's like it breathes new life into the... Yeah. And I enjoy that. Yeah. So
there's a way to do it. But if you ask me, I can't explain it to you.
You can't explain it.
I really can't tell you how we come up with these things. It's a vibe.
It just happens because you're that good.
Bro. It's not even me being good, but... when you do something over and over again for a long time, you begin to get a certain extraordinary perception of how to do it.
Right.
And that's the thing. I'm not too extraordinary. I just do the ordinary extra times. That's what
How involved were you in like the visuals of that whole process? Because you know you had some really, now that I look back, you had really iconic music videos because you were pulling Ajwa Smart, Freda Mugi, you know, big people in your videos.
That was
very animated. You had like 4 Asian guys at a time dancing for you.
That was a lot credited to Alvin. At that time, Alvin also came up with some great ideas for, you know, videos. I mean, outside the box type of ideas. So at that time, and Alvin and I used to work together. He used to come up with those crazy ideas. Nobody will really understand it until it's
out
done.
There.
You know, like a Bentley taxi. Nobody really came up with anything like that. So, you know, that is that type of outside the box thinking that I've also tried to carry with me with videos following that era, like Shilele and
what was that video where you were chasing the girl in the market? I forget the name.
Exactly. Minabo Po.
Listen, that is
stuff like
who was doing that? No, who was I watched that video.
If I hold bang, you know, that type of thinking.
I like the choir in the beginning.
Yeah. So
very different.
I always try and say, okay, what has been seen before, and then how to completely avoid that, and then try and do something which is totally left from everything.
I see. Yeah. So we know you double as a producer, or like, you know, you started in production before you came on, and I know you also produce for other artists. For example, one of my favorite songs that you've done, Sokode.
Hey,
I really love that song.
You are a very bad boy.
Right? How do you? How do you make sure you're not imposing your sound on the artists that you are? You know, because it's like you have a sound you enjoy to work with when you are making your own music. So as a producer for other people, how does that work?
I'll impose my sound.
Yeah.
I will, because that's why you're here. You're here to
for the
work
EL
together.
Sound.
Yeah. So the imposition is not like I'm trying to invade your creative space. We are working together, you know. So definitely you're going to get a small piece of what I have to bring to the table. And as a producer, also a skill is to learn how to listen to what the person you're working with wants and try and make that come to life. So I have my identity as an artist and as a producer, and there's definitely going to be that infused into whatever we
What's
do.
your favorite song that you've produced that's not for you?
Favorite song I've produced that's not for me? Probably Heartbeat with Ifia.
Oh,
Yeah, probably Heartbeat with Ifia. I co-wrote that song with her. I remember I was in Canada somewhere.
That's the one on Genesis, right?
Yes. Yeah. We're listening to it recently and we're all just like, wow, this is
it's great.
Yeah,
I always tell you, Genesis was a great album.
Very beautiful album.
Yeah.
Very beautiful album. So probably that song.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about the bar projects. I'm going to be very honest with you. I'm one of those people that like I intentionally didn't get into the bar projects because I enjoyed the singing, hip life vibe more, you know. But then at the time I was working with Aduma, and so I believe she was on the bar floor, right? Yeah. So I listened to that one song. But let's talk about the bar project. What best African rapper? What was the inspiration behind doing the bar project? And I see how like you used to tie it into the bar concerts. So what was the inspiration between those?
It was just, you know, like you said, I had been making a lot of, other types of music, the Azonto, hip life, even high life type music. And people were beginning to forget, or I was beginning to feel like I was losing touch with my hip hop roots.
Right.
So at that time, this lady who I was going out with, when you were just lying around, and she was like, why don't you just drop a mixtape or something, and you call it. She actually came up with most of the ideas. So I have a knack for associating with people who have also very creative ideas.
Right. And
so she was like, yeah, and so we started talking about it. I was like, yeah, we'll call it Best African Rapper. I was like, yeah, bar, right? Like you're dropping bars.
You're dropping bars. Yeah,
like, yeah,
come on, double entendre.
Yeah, double entendre type thing. So that's where the whole idea came from. Like, so we dropped it. We didn't even think about dropping it for like a series type of thing, just a one-off thing. We dropped it, and then people loved it so much, and like Yenko Bium, and then it turned into now we're looking at bar 7.
But okay. Because I know bar 6 came as well.
Yeah,
One thing I've realized is that, especially with the concerts, you put on a lot of like new acts and stuff. You like to collaborate with it. What is the thinking behind that? Because these days, anytime an old cat is collaborating with a new cat, they say, "Oh, you're trying to
get clout."
Yeah.
Nah,
so clear it up. Lobby don't need no clout.
I don't. Lobby don't need. I mean, I put underground artists on bar. I don't even go looking for mainstream artists.
Right.
Like, no, I put my boys on, and then if I spot anybody who I see is working really hard and who's talented, I'll hit you up myself and say, Charlie, I want you to be on bar. And 90% of the time, they are really happy to do it. So I don't do it for clout.
Yeah. No. Okay, then we come to 2016 when you dropped Everybody Loves Original Music,
right?
Which is my favorite EL project because first of all, I felt like the name of that album was so genius. And then you did this thing where you decided to go and do Kwame Nkrumah Part 2.
Right. Yeah.
That is to me, that's the best thing you have ever done.
Oh, really?
Listen.
Yeah.
I was as obsessed with Obrafo as you were.
Yes.
And I think I didn't even expect it. The album started that way.
Yeah. It was. It's been a long time dream of mine, man. Obrafo taught me so much. I used to buy his cassettes.
I know you used to run away from Presec to come and listen to it because you didn't have anything to listen to it
true.
in school.
We couldn't listen to it in school, so we used to break bounds and come home and listen to just mad tracks on tracks or Obrafo. Then we listen to some Eminem and all that. So it was definitely.
What was the conversation like?
I hit up Hammer because I knew Hammer from going to Last Two, from way back. So Hammer knew what I was working on, and he said, "Oh, no problem. He'll bring Obrafo." I was like, "Get out of here!" And then the next thing, Obrafo comes through to the studio.
Wow!
And I was mentally I was a mess because I wouldn't know how to. So I was just trying to control myself and comport myself as much as possible and be professional. But recording him was one of the highlights of my career. Just recording him in the studio. And we've done some work after that. But that particular time, just that first hit was just amazing.